On this week's episode of The Video Store, Frank reflects on his own existence. Josh left Neverland and he's not going back. And we discover that Triple Frontier is not a sex act.
Ben Affleck's a fat fuck. Welcome to the Video Store Podcast, where every week we review movies and TV shows that we've watched and look ahead at what's streaming, on demand, out for rental, and in theaters this week. My name is Frank. I'm joined by a gentleman I am told
is Josh. That's a sentence completer.
Yeah, it is. Sentence
completer. I did it.
We're going to start the podcast off with some thoughts and trailers. Some trailers I actually like for once.
Holy shit.
First up is Good Boys, in theaters in August. It's about three sixth grade boys who ditch school and embark on an epic journey while carrying accidentally stolen drugs. They're being hunted by teenage girls, and they're trying to make their way home for a long-awaited party. It's pitched as like Superbad in middle school, or in middle school.
Yeah, it's fifth graders going into middle school, I guess, or something like that, right? Yeah, sixth graders. So basically, this is their first year. They're going through the shit. They're the rookies. I just love how the opening showed up, and with Seth Rogen's like, you can't watch this. No, you can be in this and you can do this stuff, but you can't watch the trailer. And they're like, that's fucked up. And they're like, I know. Like,
yeah, you can say that, but you can't. Yeah, Seth Rogen's a producer.
You can't watch yourself say that.
Yeah, he's a producer of this movie, and the trailer opens with like him in a boardroom with the three main actors explaining that they're doing the intro for the Red Band trailer, and they can't go see the movie despite the fact they're in it. Which, I think ratings are stupid. That's a whole other topic that we could do an entire podcast on. But,
you could do a whole other podcast on. Maybe I could talk about it for 10 minutes. But all in all, I think it was definitely a fun and will be something that hopefully makes me laugh. It's been a while since I've seen a comedy that's genuinely made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, I was thinking about that recently. Comedies have kind of sucked. There was a handful of good ones last year. Like Blockers comes to mind, Game Night. But I don't think they make as much money as like a horror movie does. So like that mid-budget tier movies, they're not going to really invest in comedies.
It's a shame. We're missing out.
Yeah, we are. I mean, there's the Kevin Hart movies, but I don't like most of them. But that's kind of like...
Yeah, no, again, that's kind of like the filler that you get. That's when you ask for a crab cake and then it's not real crab.
Yeah, the last heyday for me was the Will Ferrell, Anchorman like era, and... Talladega Nights, and then all the Judd Apatow movies.
The Judd Apatow movies were a great series, and I think also the Broken Lizard movies held pretty strong for a different element of humor from those guys, Super Troopers, Beer Fest, and all that.
Yeah, it's been a while since a comedy has made me laugh as much as this trailer has, and I'm excited for it. So yeah, Good Boys is definitely one to take note of and hopefully check out this summer. Up next is Booksmart. In theaters in May. This takes place on the eve of their high school graduation. Two academic superstars and best friends realize they should have worked less and played more. Determined not to fall short of their peers, the girls try to cram 4 years of fun into one night. This also looks like a smart comedy and something that I'm excited to see. What did you think?
I think this was weird to watch these trailers back to back, which I did, and I almost saw very kind of similar movies. Of course, those are girls, those are boys, different age groups, what have you. But that was the only weird thing for me. But the trailer ended up still being something that, frankly, I do think will be good.
Yeah,
so,
I think they just both stand out because they're quality. Like they're
don't watch them back to back though. I think watch one trailer and then watch the other one next week.
Yeah, it's really, or maybe just watch Booksmart first because it is. It's not as over the top funny, but I think both of them are like honest takes on what it's like to be that age and in that situation. And Booksmart is actually the directorial debut of Olivia Wilde. So I think
really,
I always find that interesting.
That is definitely interesting.
This is the story she decides to tell with her first movie, and I think it looks really good. I think it's going to be a quality movie, and I think both of these, in a weird way, may have been inspired by 8th grade and like kind of examining youth outside of just the typical high school or college movie, and in a more grounded way.
You know, I find it real interesting that I feel like these are coming up more and more often. Honest takes on perspectives of normal, regular people growing up. Does it seem like kind of like a common theory, thing you're finding?
Yeah, I just think people are more, I don't want to say sarcastic, but they want something more realistic. Like, we get enough comedy in YouTube clips and memes and stuff. We don't need like stupid comedy from movies. I think they want a better story.
Yeah, it's true.
I've always liked movies like that. I've always, kind of not given, especially romantic comedies, a chance, because most of the time they're not real people. They're like fairy tale stories, and then slapstick comedies. They're usually
Mark Ruffalo was a janitor.
Yeah, like I like some cartoonish movies, like The Jerk comes to mind randomly of Steve Martin, but like it's got to be done with like very talented,
super well sold.
Yeah, someone who's like a physical comedic genius as well as like verbal comedic genius. Anyway,
I know we're missing out on those guys too. But anyways, sorry. Let's not delve off into a whole world. Let's talk about the third trailer.
We're definitely in rant mode, which is good for a podcast. The third one is The Professor and the Madman. This will be in theaters, I assume, at some point this year. It's been released.
Professor Mel Gibson.
Yeah, this one's been released overseas for quite some time before it comes here, despite, starring Sean Penn and Mel Gibson, two famous American actors, two of the biggest actors alive. But, two guys that haven't really been in, major movies in quite some time. This is about Professor James Murray beginning his work compiling words for the first edition of the Oxford English Dictionary in the mid-19th century. And he receives over 10,000 entries from a patient at the Broadmoor Criminal Lunatic Asylum, Dr. William Minor. The back and forth between Mel Gibson and Sean Penn is very interesting. I mean, say what you want about them as people. Those are two actors that we grew up with that have, they're very talented and iconic. And just seeing them in the same movie, it makes the movie itself interesting and something that I'm probably going to check out just out of morbid curiosity, at least.
Yeah, I also think it's pretty well shot. It looks very ultra stylized for the time. And I think their character roles, they fit them very well. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it does have a unique look for sure. And just like it had a weird feel to it. So, check out the trailer to kind of see what we're talking about. Final entry in Thoughts and Trailers, a late edition, because it just came out the day of recording.
Holy shit. It's an exclusive.
Probably not, really. Probably the 5,000th podcast talking about
We're the 5,000 exclusive. We're
talking about Lucy in the Sky, which is interesting for a couple reasons. One, it's a Natalie Portman movie, and we love her. She's one of our favorite actors.
We love you.
Yes.
We love you. Get on the cast, Natalie.
Yeah, I'm sure we can pull it off. And it's directed by Noah Hawley, writer of TV shows such as Fargo and Legion. Did some Bones writing from 2005, 2008. Yeah, he did some Bones. He was Bonesing. But I love Fargo. I love Legion. They are two of my favorite shows, and they are like redefining like storytelling in TV form. Like they are like that. The hype is real on those for me. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do in a film. And what's this movie about? It's about a female astronaut who, upon returning to Earth from a life-changing mission...
A female astronaut, Frank.
Yes. I don't know why you did that. But yeah, she comes back to Earth after a life-changing mission in space and begins to slowly unravel and lose touch with reality. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't really watch this trailer because I don't need to. I'm going to see it, and I'm trying to not spoil these things for myself. Once I know I'm going to see the movie, there's no point in me seeing the trailer. What'd you think, though? You tell me.
I thought it was emotionally compelling and seems like it's going to be something that takes you on a roller coaster of emotions. You could just see in Natalie Portman's eyes, just not beyond, because Natalie Portman, but you like what she was looking at was so in depth and life altering and changing, whatever that moment is of what she was looking at, the beyond words or what have you. I just think it's everything about it seems like it's going to be great. So
cool. She tells a story with her eyes. Did you see First Man with Gosling?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah. We talked about it.
Okay. Meh. Okay. I liked it more than you. But
yeah. It was too slow and quiet and Yeah, it was a tougher watch for me.
I think it was kind of intended to be a tough watch. But yeah, in addition to Natalie Portman telling a story with her eyes, you got John Hamm, Zazie Beetz, Dan Stevens, who worked with Noah Hawley on Legion, and then Nick Offerman, Tig Notaro. It's a really cool cast. It's
the Offster.
Yeah, the Offster, what she is famously known by. Yeah, it's loaded with people we like, and I'm super interested in that one too, and that'll be out sometime in 2019.
All right. Well, Frank, we made it through the trailers. My God.
I might be our longest
what do we do now?
Trailer segment. Let's talk about shit we've actually watched. Some of these are going to be short with good reason. Yeah, this is what we watched. Quickly, I'll explain. We'll give reviews on these briefly, just 2 to 5 minutes, and then tell you either don't do it, take it or leave it, or call it an employee pick. They're pretty self-explanatory. If
you don't understand, let us know. We'll explain it in depth with hand-to-hand instructions.
Okay. I don't know what hand-to-hand instructions. I've heard of hand-to-hand combat.
No. This is instruction.
I fear that we find ourselves funnier than anyone else does, but that's okay. I'm having a good time. Yeah.
Okay.
Triple Frontier was the big Netflix exclusive release last week. The plot summary. The plot summary for this one is that loyalties are tested when 5 former Special Forces ops reunite to steal a drug lord's fortune. This unleashes a chain of unintended consequences. Yeah, I mean,
I feel these badass ones. I got to do that shit. I'm gonna be loyalties are tested.
Okay, I'll leave it for you next time. My bad.
That's okay.
But so, what did you think of Triple Frontier?
Mixed bag for me. I would say, of course, it's hard not to like it when it has this all-star cast. I think the story was okay, but all in all, I don't know. I just wasn't like, oh man, this movie's super fucking compelling and I really give a shit about these characters. I didn't have 100% care for him. I felt like Affleck was kind of 50% there, maybe collecting a paycheck. I don't know. What were your thoughts? Because mine so far are not positive.
Yeah, I feel like you're kind of struggling with your thoughts on it. Yeah, you are definitely more forgiving of a movie based on its cast than I am. So yeah, like my Letterboxd review, which I've been trying to like make short and sweet, but sometimes I'm high and I just ramble on. I pontificate. I said I can't tell if this is the smartest dumb movie or the dumbest smart movie because it had some like really great action moments and sequences, and
right.
But the characters were so dumb at points where I don't know. Like if it was directed like by 2 guys, like kind of like the Nicolas Cage twin brothers in Adaptation, like that's what it felt like. Because there would be like this excellent action sequence where I'm like, yeah, like this movie is really telling a story.
Yeah, I'm in it right now.
Sense.
I'm
like,
fucking there.
The situations that draw these guys together and drag them out of their regular lives into this ridiculous mission make sense, and then the consequences they face and the actions that they take to get to overcome one consequence or one obstacle onto the next. Like I thought it all made sense in a way a lot of action movies don't. And like that part of the movie I thought was well thought out, but there's just a lot of bad lines. And Ben Affleck did definitely work on his dad bod. But I think what came down as being like the major fault.
He's raising a family.
Yeah, is I just didn't give a shit about any of these people. Like it didn't make me give a shit. Like
that's what I'm saying. I didn't really give a fuck about them, and I agree on the dumb decisions as well. I felt like, hey, make a smart decision here. When you're carrying a giant bag of money on a helicopter, maybe consider just throwing not just 4 bags out so you don't hit a fucking mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I thought that was dumb. Like, yeah, that decision, but then like
toss a fuck ton of shit out.
But like how the situations like present themselves, it's like, oh, that's really smart. Like that seems like a realistic obstacle, and like you didn't see everything coming. But yeah, there's a lot of dumb shit in between all that. And Oscar Isaac, like he was playing a pretty stereotypical, like, oh, he's the piece of shit with kind of a heart of gold. Like he has some soft spots, like for that lady. And then Ben Affleck
everybody had their cliche moment.
Yeah, Ben Affleck was like that guy, like he doesn't really show you how smart he is, but everyone just keeps telling us how smart he is. And like
he's really smart. And he's like, I like crayons.
Yeah, come on. What's his name? Like Red Fly or something. And
I don't know. Come on, Red Spark.
Yeah, they're like, you come on, man. You know, you case this place. You know what the plan is. Like, yeah,
2 to 3 minutes. That's why I'm fucking angry. We weren't out in 2 to 3 fucking minutes. That's what we always do. We're the best at this, and we're sucking right now. Thanks.
Yeah, a lot of shouting. Charlie Hunnam just kind of like sleepwalking through this thing. Yeah, it's a take it or leave it for me, for sure. I mean, if you come home,
it's a time filler,
half drunk, and your brain's like turned off, and you just want to look at something for 2 hours. Yeah, I can't really recommend it though. So yeah, I would say a disappointment, and kind of falls in the category of like Netflix grabbing a movie that probably shouldn't have made it in theaters.
This is like Bird Box category as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's like a tweener. Like it's got big names that you would expect, you know, would add up to a theatrical release, but the quality of the film is subpar.
Has Netflix done theatrical releases yet?
Yeah, they do. Like Roma was one because they want to get them nominated for Academy Awards. They will release. And I think actually this one was also Triple Frontier was in select theaters as well.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, give people opportunity. You know, movies like that have large scale set pieces, you know, you'd want to see in theater, or like Roma, which was shot like, you know, really well. Anyways, yeah, that movie like really kind of bummed me out. So I started watching more artsy stuff the rest of the week. I checked out The Party's Just Beginning on Hulu. Have you heard of this movie?
No.
Okay. I think it's a Hulu exclusive right now.
No, please.
You know who Karen Gillan is? Gillan? The actress. She was in Jumanji sequel, and she
wait, what? The sequel, like the Jack Black one?
Yeah, Welcome to the Jungle. Yes,
she was the fine chick.
She's
then because there's only like one chick.
Yeah, and she plays Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, just so you know, most people, listeners, probably have heard of her. She wrote, directed, and starred in this movie called The Party's Just Beginning, and it's about a character who loses a friend to suicide. And she has to deal with the stress of the situation, and it gets ugly. You were talking earlier about a tough watch. Like, it doesn't pull back on like how depressing this situation can be. It's just it has like a series of sequences where she just gets drunk, fucks a random guy, and then smashes French fries into her face while drunk on the way home, and rinse and repeat. And then they try to get inside her head, and like, you know, like they show like the drunken nights and the depression in a very stylish manner. So I was really hooked into it. I thought it was really well done, and another directorial debut by an actor that I always find interesting, because like they might only get to make one movie, so this is the story they choose to tell. And a really cool ending. I don't want to spoil anything, but I just like the ending is so abrupt. And they take the part of the story that most movies would drag out, you know, like for 20 minutes, and just make it literally like a 20-second scene. And I think it was like actually more effective for that reason, if that makes sense. But yeah, man, I really dug it. I highly recommend it, with the caveat that it's not like a fun movie. It's pretty dark and depressing. But I think it was really. It's
probably why I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, like you have to be in the movie.
Yeah, right.
It's like super comfortable, just like being in taking the dark path and just being in the dark and dreary stuff. But she does a really good job of like breaking your heart and just really, you know, fucking with you. So I think everything it intended to do, it was very effective in doing. But it's not going to make you feel super good until maybe, you know, the end.
So this would be an employee pick for you then?
Yeah, I really liked it. It's an employee pick for sure.
Well, Frank, I'll tell you something I watched. The Mountain Between Us.
They have no idea why.
Which is about basically two people stranded after a tragic plane crash.
Who are these people?
It's Idris Elba and Kate Winslet.
Okay.
They are two strangers basically that intend on taking a plane that things go wrong to where they take a basically a little bit more of a jimmy rig plane no one should ever take, but they had important reasons why they were trying to make their times back to wherever the hell they were going. And seriously, So if you see this janky ass plane, you'd be like, no, it's good. I'll wait. It's fine. I mean, they probably still couldn't. That's how they kind of force them into this gamble of life. But so anyways, the guy flying the plane has like a heart attack, and they just crash in the mountains and then struggle to survive while she.
Are these spoilers?
No, it's about the mountain. But come on, man, no, it's a survival movie. It's not a spoiler that the fucking in the first 20 minutes of the movie they fly and the fucking dude has a heart attack and they crash. I don't think that's a spoiler. If I spoiled it for you, I'm fucking sorry. But you should continue to watch the movie to see the relationship develop between Idris Elba and Kate Winslet, as he is the strong survivor type, and not in a cliche manner, just very capable, where she struggles and has to find her way to be more productive and helpful to the situation and not seem like such a burden on him. And they kind of start to forge more of a romantic connection of some sort, which it's just a very interesting relationship. Out of movies that I would consider relationship movies, this would be a very interesting setting for our first date type situation. Oh, we crashed on a fucking mountain and we're forced to live with and survive with each other and decide whether or not I was going to fucking eat her or some shit.
Wow, that's right. You should definitely update your Tinder profile. You have that ideal date.
Yeah. We should crash on a mountain, and then I'll consider cooking your leg. And I like walks on the beach.
So it seems like with the plot of this movie, there's a lot of inconveniences that happen to these
inconveniences, Frank. It's life or death.
Well, okay. Their flights were canceled. Then they get a suspect plane, and the pilot for this plane has a heart attack. So did that? But what I'm getting to is like, did that play out as like real, like believable to you, or did it seem?
I've watched a lot of survival movies. I had no issue with how this situation has played out. It could have been. I've seen more ridiculous things. It felt like a very serious tone. It was emotionally compelling as well as interesting to watch, more of almost kind of a suspense thriller.
I apologize. I did not realize I was speaking to a survival movie expert.
Bitch.
I will come at you at a different tone next time when we are discussing.
Maybe next time you'll understand. Reppin' 619-725-365.
Did you just give out your phone number?
No, I just said random numbers. Call it.
It's a survival movie thing. I just wouldn't get it.
That's right.
I did not watch any survival movies. Well, maybe I did. But I saw Colette, which is definitely not. Well, you know what? All movies can be survival movies, Josh, and I'll explain. Colette is on Amazon Prime. She is the title character is pushed by her husband to write novels under his name. Upon their success, she fights to make her talents known, challenging gender norms. This stars our girl, Keira Knightley.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. She plays the title character, Colette. She gets married to Dominic West's character, Willie, and he's kind of like one of those celebrities that's just known by his first name. So,
hey, Willie.
They throw a lot of Willies. Their chemistry is great. He plays a really good fucking scumbag. Like, he is a total piece of shit because he uses pretty much everyone in his life. He's, very impulsive and grandiose and, just sucks up all the success and just fucking just uses everyone.
He's a big evil fucking sponge.
But it's like their relationship is believable. Like, they do have this chemistry, and you believe that her, despite the fact that she starts out naive, but like becomes brilliant and like really, she's a late bloomer. And but once she figures out how the world works, she kind of becomes an expert and, is the smartest person in the room in most cases. So fantastic performances by her and Dominic West in a story that, like, on the surface, I would be interested in seeing this. Like, I don't want to see a power struggle over a novel. Like, I don't care, This takes place in like the 1800s French period.
Who cares about books, bro?
Yeah, man, who cares about books? But no, the performances and the way it was directed, like the pacing was really great. Like, every scene was interesting because it just like moved the plot forward. Everything either. You
say that genuinely, huh?
Yeah, like it either pushed the plot forward or like showed some character growth. So it was really well done. I really dug it. Keira Knightley definitely puts the movie on her back and like shoulders.
So why isn't she back kicking more ass?
Because it's not the kind of movie that's going to make $100 million. Like no one's.
Yeah, but I mean, The Favorite won an Oscar, and that was different.
Yeah, but still, that didn't make a lot of money either. Like outside of people that watch 5 to 10 movies a week like us, most people don't know what The Favorite is. But
fair enough.
Anyways, this is going to be another employee pick. I really dug this movie. I'm surprised I didn't really hear much about it last year. You kind of, I saw the poster and it would get mentioned in like also people who like this also watch this type links when I was reading articles. But yeah, check out Colette if you have Amazon Prime. I really like it. So I think it's even worth a rental if you have to pay to see it. Really good movie and really great Keira Knightley performance.
Well, I'm happy to hear that she's still a badass actress.
She is, yeah.
A backtress.
Yeah, she's... I'll let you have that one.
Yeah, thank you. So I watched Leaving Neverland, which we all know is the talk of every fucking radio station right now. I swear to God, what is going on?
Another reason I'm glad I don't listen to radio stations.
It's true. Out of convenience, when my car turns on, I'm too lazy to hit another button to go to Pandora sometimes,
Wow.
But anyways, yeah, that's the height of my laziness. And at the height of his stardom, the world's biggest pop star, Michael Jackson, began long-running relationships with 2 boys, aged 7 and 10, and their families. That sounds like a weird fucking sentence.
You're coming into this with a weird tone. It's just disturbing.
He just is like had a relationships with 2 boys aged 7 and 10 and their families. The relationship with their families was like, I'm going to take your fucking kids and you're going to be brainwashed by my Hollywood stardom. It had nothing like a relationship with them. That's the craziest shit to me in this. So I'm going to get right into it. Was that these family members, and now I feel kind of terrible. Some of the fathers, they killed themselves, not after this release, this was prior, but I mean this documentary is putting a strain on a lot of people, and you feel like maybe we all kind of knew Michael Jackson did. We all knew, right? So why release something like this that can bring that kind of pain into so many people's lives, and including your dog? But
I'm not digging this.
Yeah, so there was a couple things that bugged me about how they told the story. They keep kind of reiterating on very similar things. It wasn't like you discovered something new. It was like, and then he had sex with children. And then he had sex with children. And then he had sex with children.
So it's like that blunt with it.
And yet constantly the kid is doing his little facade interview, face forward, biography, whatever. And he's constantly like, and then that's when he would abuse me, and then I'd lie again, and then that's when he would abuse me, and then I'd lie again, and that would go on until basically he's like, well, and then I decided to tell the truth. Well, fuck you.
I have some questions.
I know you.
I have some questions here.
Go ahead. Okay.
So you said multiple dads. How many families are you talking about in this movie?
I mean, well, he had a relationship with a lot of children, but they harp around two boys. And also, they kind of bring up another child sometimes, and then Macaulay Culkin sometimes.
But okay, so they interview the 2 boys as adults now.
Yes, they're the ones that have basically are pursuing the main storytelling of this documentary.
Do you believe them? Like, does the movie make you believe them? Okay.
No, the movie doesn't make me believe him. I already fucking believe that shit.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I believed it. But so it didn't change your mind? Like, did it seem exploitive of, like, the family?
It seemed like this thing could hurt a lot of people and bring up a lot of bad memories. And I think, you could have released an article instead of something like this that's going to go, just like Bird Box in a worse format. This is like the documentary of negativity that outreaches fucking everywhere, and everyone's fucking talking about it, and because of that, it's a lot of people related to those stories are struggling, and I think it's unfair to do that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I think certain stories need to be told. I think we already knew this story for the most part. You didn't have to go in depth hour and a half interviews and bring all these people up and their families and the shit and bring back all this painful shit. I will say it's an interesting character study on these parents who fantasize these relationships with Michael Jackson based on his want for their children, which was insane to me. It was like a cult in a format as far as I'm concerned.
Huh. That's interesting. I mean, the argument you're making about this, you could make on a larger scale with all true crime documentaries, which is like really made a huge comeback and may be as popular as it's ever been in our culture. And yeah,
I think the ones that tell the certain stories, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the difference between like stuff like this and what I've heard that, what was the most recent one that was the fucking Abducted in Plain Sight on Netflix, and like that, and like Making a Murderer to me was different because it's you're kind of like
you're opening up a discussion that's definitely not set in stone.
Yeah, it puts you like as a member of a jury. Yeah, and even that, I mean, it's still exploitive because you're watching it for a piece of entertainment. And like you said, you're bringing up a horrible thing in people's lives, and of course, the survivors of this stuff, the real life people, are probably pulled out of the shadows, and people are fucking with them. Like the families in this documentary are without a doubt like being harassed in some form. Guaranteed.
Oh, for sure. Like, and it's just doesn't help anyone.
Yeah. I mean, this is a problem with all of these. And is it worth it? Like, could you just, do a Law and Order style, like change the names, protect the innocent? Probably but some people like, this is their dominant form of entertainment is like true crime podcast, true crime movies. And, I think you bring.
I understand. And that's
like,
the thing. They hit it right on the knob.
Yeah. But you still watched it. I mean, I'm not like blaming you, but it's like, why do we watch this? Because like I say that, but I still watch some of these. And
I'll tell you, like I was frustrated about halfway through as I felt like I wasn't learning anything new beyond like this boy's account of the personal experiences, which wasn't anything you could hear from pretty much any sexual predator and that kid's experience. Beyond that, he's a manipulative person. And they were conditioned and manipulated to, do whatever he wanted for most of, their lives as they grew up, which I don't know. Yeah, I watched it after the fact because of these reasons that I wanted to know why the fuck is everyone talking about it? Uh-huh. And was it something that was controversial that I was going to learn something new about these stories? And really, I'm sure there was some information that they drudged up, but for the most part, it wasn't anything nobody didn't understand, that back in the day when he was freed of those crimes, it was because of the power of his stardom and not because he was innocent. So I don't know. Not very happy with this one. So I would say don't do it. It's not worth your time. If you already feel like this is a story that we're pretty secure in the books of what it was, let it go. It's nothing new and nothing interesting.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I didn't see it, but like I was hesitant for the reasons you were mentioning. I guess like the only interesting thing I think you could pull out a story like for me out of that like this would be like the psychology behind like why the parents allowed this to happen, and just psychology of like how he manipulated them on like maybe you could take something from that, but it sounds like it's pretty exploitive and like something that we don't need to see.
I would agree.
Cool.
Per my comments.
Yeah. Just a follow up. I know you talked about Happy Death Day to You,
which is a survival movie, Frank.
Yep. I said I might have a survival movie. I enjoy this. I think it was a little too close. What was it, 2 years ago? The first one came out. It's not, a overly complicated idea. It's got a very familiar feeling. It feels like it was shot the day after the first movie was shot. But
I would agree.
Yeah, once again, just like a charming cast, and Jessica Roth, similar to what I said earlier about Karen Gillan and Keira Knightley, this one actor puts this whole movie on their shoulders and carries it. I find her like extremely charming, and I think she's got great comedic timing, and she sells the dramatic parts with her mother really well. Like, she is way too good for this type of movie. And I think her and the supporting cast just have this charm to them and chemistry that you don't really see in this type of movie. A horror comedy usually doesn't care for the performances that much.
Right.
And I kind of lucked into a really good actress in this one.
Yeah, because most of movies similar to these types of things are never really good. This was a surprising delight, but I did want to know what you thought about the time traveling elements and those kinds of concepts that were brought in.
So I don't know too much about those things, like the technical jargon that they were saying. I thought it was
That's not the point.
Yeah, it was kind of a throwback to like Back to the Future.
Weird science.
I prefer more like dark like tone when it comes to time travel, and I don't think it was successful for that, despite maybe trying to attempt to do that. I think under a different tone that would have worked better, but it was a tough, like, spinning multiple plates of like, this is going to be funny and scary and then also heartfelt. And
did you feel scared at any point? I don't think it was supposed to be like, I'm over. I don't think it's supposed to be a scary movie. I thought it was more like a sci-fi kid. I don't even fucking know.
Yeah, it definitely was falsely advertised, because the first one did have a lot of jump scares and creepy moments where she was stalked throughout, and it was
this had none.
Terrifying. Yeah, this one was more, just a different tone. But yeah, I liked it. I think it's worth checking out if you like the first one. I could see how some people would even prefer this one.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. I kind of did prefer it because I kind of was over the horror element because I didn't think it really existed in the first place, and I think they understood that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the director does, Christopher Landon, and because he's got some talent for sure, and then also Jessica Rothe, like what else she's going to do. I hope it's not like another forgotten young actor that just doesn't get another chance, because she seems to be pretty bankable. She's the main force behind that movie.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. I mean, you agree, though, right? Like, if there's movies like Truth or Dare and Unfriended, they don't have anyone as talented as that in those movies.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I'm not saying anything different. Maybe I'm not, full balls gone, but I would love to see her in something more dramatic and serious and see how that turns out.
Yeah, we're rooting for her. She's on the list of our favorites. I'm surprised you saw Instant Family, but you do this thing where you watch really sincere movies despite being so insincere and sarcastic about 99% of life.
Well, where do you think I live vicariously through? Okay. Like, I am Mark Wahlberg in this movie.
Okay. So, yeah, real quick. So, this is directed by a guy, Sean Anders, and his movies have not been critically acclaimed. He did That's My Boy, Daddy's Home Movie, Sex Drive. But apparently, this movie is different because it is basically about his life. Him and his wife and him did this. Did you know that?
No, actually, I did not.
Yeah, so this is a surprise hit and highly reviewed. Tell me what you thought about those. Sorry.
Well, first I'm going to tell people what it's about.
Good idea.
Yeah, I mean, the title was kind of self-explanatory, but it's a couple that finds themselves in over their heads when they end up fostering 3 children, siblings of each other. It's played off in the trailer as kind of like a light comedy, and I think they followed that tone somewhat, but there's really good little emotional depth moments between the development of these children that I've never seen in anything, and how amazing they were, with surprisingly Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne, which Wahlberg was okay. He has his moments, but he doesn't, I don't think, placate the emotional side very well, and they didn't do that with him, which I think was a very smart choice. These moments kind of develop from the kids, I would say, and their reactions and their conditioning that brought them into these situations. So I think that's the real story that was compelling to me.
Yeah, I thought the pairing of Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne as parent, it was weird casting. You just don't picture them in this type of movie. They have strengths, especially Rose Byrne, but
yeah, she killed it.
Yeah, usually not in this, and yeah, just a real surprise movie that I think is floated under the radar. Would you recommend it?
I would recommend this movie. I wouldn't say it's like my like an amazing pick or an employee pick, but I would say I recommend this movie to watch. I don't know why, but because I wouldn't find this in my DVD collection, but it would be something that I'd watch and I'd say that was kind of enjoyable, and I was delightfully surprised.
Yeah, I think one thing you and I have always have in common is like when you just like movies, it's a genre you normally don't care about. If it's just a good movie, though, you're gonna watch it. You know.
Right. Yeah. No, I will take those shots.
Cool. Yeah, I might actually check that out. I was on the fence because I keep hearing good things about it, despite.
I will say the ending is like the worst. They should have ended it like 5 minutes earlier, but that was the only thing.
So if I shut it off like 5 minutes, I'll feel.
You'll know exactly when. Okay. There is a perfect moment where you think it's going to the credits, and then it doesn't. And that's when you turn it off.
Yeah. Okay. I'm probably going to check this one out.
Do it in that method.
Yeah. That one's just on rental VOD. I don't know if I did a great job, so check the notes on the podcast if I didn't tell you how you can watch all this stuff. But I think we did. Michael Jackson was on HBO GO. Happy Death Day 2 is in theaters. And Instant Family is rental VOD. Our final review is of the David Cronenberg directed and written movie
eXistenZ.
eXistenZ. They say it a couple different ways.
eXistenZ.
Yeah. This is about a game designer on the run, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, who is she was, there's a botched assassination attempt, and she has to play her latest VR game with a marketing trainee played by Jude Law to determine if the game has been damaged. Have you seen this movie, Josh?
I don't know, but it's kind of reminding me of something that I haven't been able to figure out the title for years, and it was like a virtual reality type situation with a killer inside of it, but go ahead.
So there was the 13th Floor.
No, it's not that. No, I'm 100% familiar with that. This was, It's very tough to figure this out, and I've spent a lot of time researching it, but maybe you can help me when we're not podcasting.
Okay, cool. So anyways, this is right around the Matrix time as well. Movies like this, it's very Y2K paranoia, where it's awesome because like people don't fully understand what VR is quite yet, and they make sci-fi movies about it. I really dug this movie. It's David Cronenberg. We talked about earlier in the year with that Christopher Walken movie. You know what I'm talking about? I just can't think of it right now. But he has like a similar.
The Dead Zone.
Yeah, Dead Zone, where it's like this dark. Sci-fi horror movie, but it has like a goofiness to it, and like eXistenZ has this like goofiness to it and a charm to it that you don't normally see in sci-fi, and like really makes it stand out. Jennifer Jason Leigh is fucking awesome in this movie. I just went back in her IMDb and I'm like, why did she not get more work? She's fantastic, and anyone who saw Hateful Eight gets what I'm saying. Just really awesome performance as this video game designer, and Jude Law plays like a wimpy kind of guy who is afraid to even get the surgery needed. Like you have to put a hole near your spine to jack into the VR.
Oh, system. You got to jack in it?
Yeah. Because that's how we imagine the future in 1999. But
things in our butts.
This has a lot of practical effects. So like when they go into the VR world, it's just everything's just a little bit off. It's a little more neon. They use a lot of weird acting, like robotic acting, to display that they're in a VR world, because they don't have the budget of like a Matrix movie. But I really I thought it was really cool. The controllers, like Google Game Controller eXistenZ, when you can, they have like skin and body part type feel. Fucking creepy as shit. But the journey this movie takes is a really cool mystery mindfuck movie. And I dug the shit out of everything about it. It's really hard to talk about without spoiling it. There is a really good twist at the end. And to me, a sign of a great movie is that I was totally entertained and satisfied. Then the twist happened. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't even need that. And obviously it's science fiction, so it's going to have a commentary on society and their relationship with entertainment.
Technology.
Exactly. And I thought all that was really well done. I thought there's some really cool messages in this movie, and two great performances with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jude Law. And you can see this right now on like Amazon Prime, Hoopla. Yeah, on Hoopla. And it's
Blah.
a 20-year-old movie, but I think it's got a lot of cool stuff and it got a lot of cool social commentary that's relevant now. And it's such a unique movie that, yeah, it's going to feel aged. But once you get into the feel of it, I think you'll be really entertained and find some cool stuff in it. So another employee pick, man. I really highly recommend this movie.
Fair enough. Well, we did it, Frank. We made it through what we watched.
Yeah.
Now it's time.
Yeah, now it's time to talk about
TWTW.
AK, what to watch this week.
That's a way easier way to do it.
March 18th through 24th, our year of Dennis Quaid 2019.
Fuck yeah, baby.
On Netflix, there is The Dirt on March 22nd. This is the story of how Motley Crue came to be one of the most notorious rock and roll groups in history. Do you know about this movie? I feel like this is something you would watch. It's directed by Jeff Tremaine, famous for doing the Jackass show in movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it stars Machine Gun Kelly, Pete Davidson. I mean, this just screams. This is like one of those movies we'd get.
This does not scream me.
So remember at Blockbuster, we get like the 5 rentals every week?
Yeah.
This screams like, okay, this will be my 5th rental because this just going to be trash, but it's new and I want to talk about it.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a Spanish movie also coming out on the 22nd called Mirage with a trailer I thought was really interesting. This is about 2 storms separated by 25 years. A woman is murdered. A daughter is missing. Only 72 hours to discover the truth. So, yeah, that's one of those taglines. But check the trailer out. I think it looks really well done.
Okay. I will.
Amazon Prime has Cold War coming out on March 22nd. This is the Polish black and white movie that got a lot of critical acclaim and I want to see really bad. It takes place in the 1950s. A music director falls in love with a singer and tries to persuade her to flee communist Poland for France. So kind of like A Star is Born, but with a better director and with some historical consequences.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen it?
No, I want to see it. It looks really cool, and I've heard good things about it. Hulu's got Assassination Nation out now by the time you're listening to this, a movie that I really enjoyed. Did you check this out? I can't remember.
I did. I didn't have as strong thoughts as you did. I felt like the build-up was amazing, and then it just like cut to fucking the end.
Yeah, this is one of the more polarizing movies this year. A lot of people hate it.
It is a fun watch.
Yeah,
really?
I dug it, man. I thought it brought up some really cool stuff, and it just it's so
it went balls to the wall, man.
Yeah, the energy and the passion behind this movie is like next level. It's about a small town where a malicious data hack exposes the secrets of every person in this town of Salem, and chaos descends, and 4 girls who are like characters that you normally hate in a movie. And I think the point is it's okay. And a lot of people don't like this movie because they don't like the girls, and that's fine. I don't think they're characters that are supposed to be redemptive or, you know, you're supposed to love to begin with, but they are kind of, you know, the main characters / heroes of the story, if you want to call them that. But yeah, their fight for survival and dealing with the hack, and like the town just turns on them because like young women are especially fucking hated in this country, you know, especially if they're attractive. I thought there was just really smart political commentary and great action and great gore. It's one of my favorite movies last year, man. I think you should try to check it out again. May watch it without the expectations.
Okay, fair enough. I think the violence was sweet.
Yeah, like this is one that's like worth owning for me. I think it's a special movie. But that's just my opinion. HBO GO has The Miseducation of Cameron Post out on March 22nd. This one takes place in 1993. A teenage girl is forced into a gay conversion therapy center by her conservative guardians. Have you heard of this?
Nice. No, it kind of reminds me of that old movie, and I think it was with your girl from that Russian Doll that did like an old show where there was like a similar conversion situation.
Welcome to the Doll? No, But I'm a Cheerleader.
Yes.
Yeah, with Natasha Lyonne. Yeah,
yes.
This one stars another one of our favorites, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Hey.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of gay conversion movies recently, probably because Mike Pence is our vice president, you know, and it's just an archaic.
You do it now.
Yeah, it's an archaic idea, you know. That should be examined because it's really fucking stupid. Yeah, I don't think you should fuck with kids' heads. But, I'll get off my soapbox and continue to talk about movies. On VOD/rental, we have Mary Poppins returns on March 19th. I thought this movie was just okay. It's the live-action follow-up to the 1964 classic. This one has Emily Blunt. She fucking kills it as Mary Poppins. Everything around her is just so-so, in my opinion. But if you haven't seen it yet, you can now rent it for like $5.
Wait, wasn't Mary Poppins also live action in 1964?
Yeah, I don't know why the plot summary does that. But I mean, it's one of those blends. Like there is animation within it, but yeah,
for sure, there's always going to be some CGI. Bitch has to fly.
Maybe there's a cartoon we don't know about. I can't explain these plot summaries, man. We don't have time to put these things in our own words. And then in theaters this Friday, March 22nd, one of the most anticipated movies. I'm going to speak for the podcast.
Yes.
Jordan Peele's follow-up.
Yes.
To Get Out.
Yes.
Us. This is about a family's serenity turns to chaos when a group of doppelgangers begins to terrorize them. What that means is you got this happy family and their fucking wood-paneled...
Crawl Daddy.
Their wood-paneled car, yeah. Just if you haven't seen this trailer, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast.
700 times.
Yeah. I'm going to see this Thursday night. I'm really excited, and we will both be talking about it on the next episode.
Yes.
And then there's a lot of limited releases this week, but there's one I thought was worth mentioning, Hotel Mamba. It's got a really good trailer. It's based on a true story of the Taj Hotel terrorist attack in Mumbai. Yeah, not Mamba. Mumbai. I'm very tired, and I'm the hotel. Yeah, so it's based on a real terrorist attack where the hotel staff risked their lives to keep everyone safe as people make unthinkable sacrifices to protect themselves and their families. Just check it out. I think it was well done, not exploitive like some things based on history that we've talked about. And it has Dev Patel.
The World Trade Center.
Yeah. And it stars Dev Patel, an actor that I'm a real big fan of and that I've yet to see deliver like a performance that wasn't really good. You probably know him from Slumdog Millionaire, Lion, Chappie.
Yeah, no, got him.
Yeah, I love that guy. So
amazing.
Yeah, so he's one of the actors that he seems to pick really good roles too. So I usually check out whatever he decides to act in. Yeah,
it's fun to see actors make great strategic choices and not just anything that somebody throws at them.
For sure. Man, I'm tired as fuck, but we got through the podcast.
We did it.
I hope we gave you folks something to check out. Talked about the couple dozen movies as we typically do. You're listening to this now, so you know we're available where most podcasts are at. You can find us on the social media websites, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Frank will respond.
Tell us what we did wrong. Attack Josh for his horrible explanation of Robin, the character.
What?
You're gay bashing Robin earlier, man.
No, I was gay bashing his costume.
Unacceptable. I got some underwear that go up that high. You have to expand your horizons, man.
I'm not going to expand them up my ass.
Your loss. Anyways, thanks for listening. Sometimes I don't know why you do, especially in moments like this. Josh, what do you got to say to the people?
No.
All right. See you next week.
I figured you would just cut. You leave all these great parts to just let it go. Just let it ride into the wind. I don't always have to say something.
Goodbye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.